Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy.
I think one of the most tragic and sad villains that we ever saw in Justice League, the animated series, or JLAS as I'm calling it from now on, let's make JLAS a thing, was the hulking zombie, Solomon Grundy. While he committed crimes, he wasn't doing it out of malice. He was just trying to fill a void in his heart. He had no idea what he was missing, but he felt compelled to try and find things to make him feel something. For Grundy, pretty things like gold and jewelry temporarily gratify him, but he was never truly satisfied. I mean, come on, he's a 7-foot tall, 8-foot wide, undead mass of muscle. What does he need gold coins for? Well, it would turn out that this void within Grundy was the place where his soul had been, but we wouldn't learn about that until much later on. Solomon Grundy first appeared in the JLAS, yes, I'm sticking with this, two-parter, Injustice for All, as part of Lex Luthor's Injustice League. He was the brute muscle of the team and was able to go toe-to-toe with Superman. However, what he had in terms of physical strength, he lacked in intelligence. Grundy is a pretty simple guy, and characters like Batman run rings around him. To most people, Grundy is a tool or a weapon, something that they can use to help them achieve their goals. Like when the rogue Amazon Arisia used Grundy to help her unleash a plague that would only target men. And why did Grundy help her? Because she was pretty. We wouldn't learn any more about Grundy until the JLAS episode, The Terror Beyond. This is the story that gives us a proper look at Grundy's motivations. And the thing I really like about the episode is that it's just as educational for Grundy as it is for us. He's had this never-ending urge driving him for years, with no understanding of what he's looking for or why he's looking for it. And it would take the intervention of Dr. Fate to reveal all. When he was a human being, Solomon Grundy had been Cyrus Gold, a 1920s gangster that was betrayed by his cohorts, and his lifeless body was dumped in Slaughter Swamp, just outside of Gotham. Slaughter Swamp was a mystical place that spent decades marinating his corpse, infusing him with mystic energy. Eventually, he would emerge from the occult waters as the gigantic being known as Solomon Grundy and began wandering the earth. And what was he looking for? His soul. You see, when Gold had been murdered by the other gangsters, they placed a curse on his body, which removed his soul. Man, those guys really hated his guts. But now that Gold had been reborn as Grundy, he didn't have his soul anymore, and the gaping void within him compelled him to start collecting things to fill the gap in his heart, which is something I relate to as a millennial. While the comic book Solomon Grundy didn't really talk all that much, and usually when he did, he repeated the Solomon Grundy nursery rhyme. Grundy may not have been particularly articulate, but he had thoughts, dreams, and feelings. But people only ever saw him as a stupid monster. There are some obvious comparisons to be made with Marvel's Incredible Hulk. Just look at the general chasing after Grundy. He's totally Thunderbolt Ross. And the team Dr. Fate assembles mirrors Marvel's super team, the Defenders, with Dr. Fate representing Doctor Strange, Aquaman, Namor, the Submariner, Hawkgirl, Nighthawk, and Grundy the Hulk. Grundy teamed up with Dr. Fate and pals to try to prevent an ancient elder god from coming through our dimension, but that failed thanks to the intervention from Hawkgirl. Thinking that Grundy was being tortured, Grundy and co. resorted to a good old-fashioned punch-up with the evil deity. Grundy heroically sacrificed himself to clear the way to defeating the Elder God, and he didn't hesitate for a moment. I find Grundy's final moments utterly heartbreaking, especially his final speech, where Grundy asks Hawkgirl if his lost soul is waiting for him on the other side. The atheist Hawkgirl hesitates for a moment before telling Grundy that his soul is definitely waiting for him. Now, obviously, Hot Girl doesn't really believe this. She has to stop herself from telling him what she really thinks. But she tells him what he wants to hear as a way of comforting a dying man. We don't know for certain if Grundy was reunited with his soul, but he was given a peaceful burial in a private place. All we could do is hope for the best. Sadly, that noble death was not the end of Solomon Grundy. In the Justice League Unlimited episode, Wake the Dead, Solomon Grundy was unintentionally resurrected by teenagers dabbling in the dark arts, who were just trying to get themselves the power to deal with bullies. I guess their spell worked then, but they clearly bit off more than they could chew when they accidentally resurrected Grundy. That's a key point. Grundy didn't ask to be resurrected either of the times it happened. But he has to deal with the consequences and dramatic changes to his personality. This newer form of Grundy is a wild beast, foaming at the mouth, and his eyes are filled with rage. He's furious and lashing out at the world around him, although he does seem to recognize the members of the Justice League. He's unable to listen to reason, and his first reaction is to attack Superman and Green Lantern. He's far more brutal than he ever had been previously, indicating perhaps that Grundy had always been holding back to a certain extent because he didn't want to harm anyone. This new form of Grundy is completely free of inhibition as he batters the Justice Leaguers that are trying to contain him. The only thing that can stop him is the nth metal in Hot Girl's mace. And this is the real tragedy of the episode. You can see that Grundy recognizes Hot Girl, maybe even remembers how she comforted him as he died. But the words she told him were a lie. Grundy knew no peace. When Hot Girl mortally wounds Grundy, Green Lantern offers to finish him off because he knows how deeply Grundy's death had affected Hot Girl, but she refuses to shirk the responsibility of helping her damaged friend. Hot Girl euthanizes him by beating him about the head with her mace, and we see that Grundy accepts Hot Girl's actions. He knows that he's a monster and he doesn't want to be that way, so he closes his eyes, bows his head, and allows Hot Girl to kill him. It's one of the saddest moments in the series, trumped only by the Ace scene from the episode Epilogue. Just mentioning that makes my eyes water. Solomon Grundy may not be the best villain, but I think he can be quite relatable. Sure, none of us are reanimated corpses looking for our lost souls, or I assume none of us are, but I think we all know what it feels like to be lost, to not know what our purpose in life is, to feel like you need to be doing more, but not entirely sure what more actually is. And I'm certain we've all been underestimated at least once or twice because of how we look or because of our perceived intellectual capacity. Solomon Grundy is an undeniably tragic figure. He had no say in his creation and didn't decide to become a monster. His murderers didn't even intend for this to happen to him. While Grundy chose to act heroically on the off chance that he might reclaim his soul, his sacrifice was undone by foolish boys playing with a power they didn't understand, and it completely undid all of Grundy's work. And what's worse, he had to rely on a friend to put him out of his misery. I really like the philosophical question about the nature of souls. Are they tangible things that can be lost and hopefully found? Do they even exist? Honestly, I don't think so. But for Grundy's sake, I hope they do. Thank you for watching this video essay, especially if you've made it all the way to the end. If you've enjoyed this video, please do all the usual YouTube stuff, like, share, comment, subscribe. Any and all of those things would really help me out. If you'd like to hear more from me and my husband, who you may know as Serum Lake, why not check out our podcast, Totally Shui, a DC Animated Universe podcast, and Totally Shui Flipside, a podcast about whatever the hell else I want it to be about, which has mostly been comic book movies in recent weeks. If there are any other DCAU characters that you'd like me to talk about, feel free to make a suggestion in the comments. Until next time.